Happy Valentine's Day, fam, and welcome back to Dig It with Raven. Quick PSA before we start the video. We will be discussing and showing images and photos of human remains. If you do not wish to see these images, please go and watch a different video that I have on my channel. As always, we will be treating any human remains that we show with dignity and respect and talking about them archaeologically. Have you ever been in love? I don't mean an ordinary, comfortable love. The love I'm speaking of is one which transcends time and space, one that captures the hearts and minds of people across the world. A love that has left no poetry, but still speaks magnitudes millennia later. This is the love that archaeologists stumbled upon in 1972 during excavations at the site of Tepe Hasanlu, located in northwest Iran near Lake Urmia. Buried in a plaster-lined mud brick storage bin, heads resting atop a stone slab, two individuals lay in an embrace, arms around one another, and one reaching out a hand to touch the other's face. Their faces are so close and their heads angled in such a way that it appears as if we've interrupted a stolen kiss, preserved forever in time. As anthropologist Janet Monge said, in terms of something that's emotionally evocative, the discovery of who have come to be known as the Hasanlu Lovers is about as good as it gets in archaeology. Who these so-called lovers were, who they were to each other, how they died, and whether or not they actually died in each other's arms or were positioned this way after death still remains a mystery. It's this mystery and emotion that makes the Lovers of Hasanlu one of the most recognized burials of all time, with the media regularly resurfacing the story of this 2,800-year-old kiss every few years. But how much can archaeology tell us about this mysterious pair? Between 1956 and the mid-1970s, a joint team of archaeologists from the University of Pennsylvania, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and the Archaeological Service of Iran excavated the site of Hasanlu. Hasanlu is one of the largest archaeological sites in northwest Iran and one of the most thoroughly excavated, meaning that it's essential to understanding the history of this region. The city was occupied consistently from the 6th millennium BCE until around 800 BCE, when it was invaded and subsequently destroyed by fire. The site consists of a 25-meter-high central, quote, citadel mound with massive fortifications and paved streets, surrounded by a low outer town about 8 meters above the surrounding plain. Excavations uncovered the burnt remains of huge mud brick walls, thick layers of ash, skeletons, some with ornaments still on them, pottery, and so much more. It's not known if the fire was accidental or on purpose, but this level of destruction and the nature of the arson that swept through the city resulted in it being essentially frozen in time as buildings fell on top of the people who met their end during the attack and also from the blaze. Approximately 246 skeletons of human remains of varying ages and sexes were found, the bodies remaining where they fell in the streets and in the buildings. Some people were found in groups and had sustained injuries such as head lacerations and dismembered limbs, which suggests that mass executions had taken place. Archaeologists working on site at the time claim how emotional and harrowing it was for them to excavate, especially when they were uncovering groups containing women and children. Who actually attacked Hasanlu is still not known. It could have been the Urartian Empire, though the Assyrian Empire was also very prominent in this region and time period. No evidence or artifacts of the invaders has been uncovered, and there is no indication from any of the skeletons as to who the invaders might have been. Though writing had been invented at this time and was used in the surrounding areas, the city of Hasanlu itself is considered proto-historic, and there was no writing found at the site, so we are at a loss in that direction as well. That also means that the people of Hasanlu are mysterious themselves. We don't know what language they spoke, nor how they would have identified themselves. But based on the evidence from extensive excavations, Hasanlu appears to have been a thriving commercial and artistic center until it met its end. Now, the lovers of Hasanlu were found just west of an enclosed storage area separating two larger structures within the lower court of Hasanlu. The bin itself was said to have 3 low steps inside that allowed someone to enter. The discovery of 2 skeletons in a bin when most were found strewn onto streets was very unexpected for archaeologists and can be seen by the hole in one of the skulls. This was done during excavation from a blow by a worker's pickaxe. He was very unprepared for human remains to show up in this context, which you can't really blame him for, so please don't start anything in the comments. It happens. It's not like Buster from Arrested Development. It happens on site all the time, especially when it's something that you're not expecting to find and not excavating appropriately. The lovers are believed to have died during the attack that occurred around 800 BCE. Other than that, not much else can be said for certain about their deaths. Only pieces of plaster, charcoal, and burned brick were reported in the fill with their bodies, so no artifacts were present or ornaments were found on them, and unlike many other sets of human remains found at the site, the lovers showed some evidence of trauma, but nothing that could pinpoint cause of death. So while a lot of the skeletons, obviously they have major head trauma or something physical that we can see on the skeleton, we can't find anything on these 2. It might have been a soft tissue damage or something, but we still can't really tell exactly how they died. A spiritual or special burial for these lovers has been suggested, but there was a distinct lack of, anything other than the human remains, as we mentioned. In stark contrast with the other human remains at the site, which had adornments still on their bodies, there were no other artifacts in this pit other than that stone slab that their heads were resting on. Again, no one knows why they didn't have anything on them. It's made some people wonder if they had been stripped of their possessions or possibly died before the attack and were buried for sentimental, political, or religious reasons. More popularly, many scholars have put forth the idea that the 2 people in this pit might have climbed inside the bin to hide during the attack on Hasanlu and then suffocated to death. There was no evidence of a cover that could have gone over the bin, but something like that could have been made out of wood or other material that wouldn't have survived the fire. The debris of plaster, charcoal, and burned brick found around the bodies is therefore probably from the fire and building collapses that destroyed the citadel. The walls of a burned building could have fallen over the bin, sealing the couple in but not crushing them, and then they would have possibly died from asphyxiation, holding each other in their final moments. When looking at the image of these 2 people embracing, we might imagine 2 lovers at ease in each other's arms, knowingly entering death together after one final kiss. Maybe they had crawled into the bin in hopes of escaping together once the attack was over. Perhaps while they were hiding, one reached forward to tell the other to not make any noise in hopes of avoiding detection. This is actually really sad. I'm really getting emotional making this video about this. In either possibility, it appears that they died peacefully, probably by this asphyxiation, as we mentioned, although, again, there are many soft tissue injuries that could have proved fatal that don't show up on the archaeological record. If the lovers did indeed die of asphyxiation, their end would have come fairly quickly. The air deprivation could have been quick, abrupt without their knowledge, as oxygen was replaced by smoke and burning debris fell in a manner that sealed the lovers in to a confined, airless environment. It may be one solace during this mass destruction that 2 people potentially met their end quickly, privately, and peacefully in each other's arms. The exact nature of the sex and relationship of these 2 Hasanlu individuals has been the subject of much investigation, and in many ways, the lovers still remain mysterious. Shouldn't all lovers, though? When we see an embrace such as this in, well, archaeology, art, even real life, we as humans tend to make assumptions about the people partaking in said action. While one skeleton, the one on the right of this photo, was easily identifiable as male from their pelvis, the other skeleton was more difficult, and due to the nature of the find and the inherent bias of finding two supposed lovers embracing, it was assumed that the other skeleton was female. Recently, analysis at Harvard University of ancient DNA samples taken from each skeleton has shown that both were genetically male. Dental analysis suggests that the skeleton on the right was a young adult, possibly 19 to 22 years of age, while the one on the left was approximately 30 to 35 years old. Both had no apparent evidence of disease or evidence of healed injuries. Of course, simply knowing the age and sex of the individuals doesn't give us any indication or explanation of their relationship to each other. They could have been friends, lovers, family members, or even strangers looking to find some comfort and solace in their final moments. All we can confidently say as archaeologists is that the Lovers of Hasanlu provides us with a snapshot of an intimate, private, and tender act between two people during dire circumstances. We, as archaeologists and now as the public, have the privilege of looking at and studying a slice of unadulterated human experience. Such a tumultuous moment would have made even the bravest of us seek comfort. As Hasanlu experienced its darkest hour, these two individuals, whoever they were, sought that comfort in each other. Of course, as archaeologists, we must remember that the stories we create about people of the past says more about us, our culture, and our perspectives than it does the people who lived in the past. While we can use as many facts as possible to aid us in uncovering the truth, there will always be mystery and unanswered questions. Often these questions are the ones that we most want answers to, unfortunately. Particularly, a lot of those questions are about love. The Lovers of Hasanlu are currently cared for by the Penn Museum, though they were taken off display in the 1980s for conservation purposes. As part of the Penn Museum's human remains policy, which prioritizes human dignity and the wishes of descendant communities, no exposed human remains are on display inside the museum. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. We are back on our Valentine's themed episodes. I'm so sorry I missed last year. I'm going to make a playlist because I seem to have created quite a few of these, and I really enjoy the ritual of it. If you like that video, you know what to do. Smash that like button, smash the subscribe button so you never miss a video. Big thank you to all of my patrons over on Patreon. If you like the channel, you want to help support the channel, head on over to Patreon and become a patron. You get early access to all of my videos and some other really fun updates there as well. Here are all of my socials, and as always, stay dirty, my friends.